Hello everyone, welcome to Homework Help. If you find the videos useful, please subscribe to the channel. So in this video, we'll solve this problem using the concepts of dot product. So as per the problem, given the vectors r and s, determine the components of two vectors perpendicular to each of these vectors. Now this is a tricky problem. So these two given vectors are collinear vectors. They are scalar multiples of each other. So if we multiply vector r by -2, we'll get vector s. So I can show you the steps. So we multiply each component by -2. So this is vector s. This means a vector that's perpendicular to vector r will also be perpendicular to vector s. So we don't need to use both vectors for this analysis. So let's just use vector r for this analysis. So let's assume a vector perpendicular to vector r is x, y, z. So that means the dot product of vector r and this unknown vector should be equal to 0. Now we can do the dot product. We should multiply the x, y, and z components. Now we can simplify the expression on the left side. So this is the equation we get with variables x, y, and z. So any x, y, and z value combination that satisfies this equation will be a vector that will be perpendicular to given vector r. Now since there is only one equation with three unknowns, we cannot use this equation to find the values of x, y, and z. So here we'll have to assume values for two of the variables, and then we'll use those values to find the value of the third variable. So there are infinite number of vectors that can be perpendicular to vectors r and s. So for the first vector that we have to find, let's assume x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 1. So we can sub in these values in this equation. Now we can simplify this equation. Now we can add z to both sides. So we get z equals 3. So one possible vector that's perpendicular to both vectors r and s is. Now we have to find two vectors that are perpendicular to vectors r and s. So for the other vector, we'll have to assume values for two of the three variables. So for the second vector, let's assume x equals 1 and z equals 1. Now we can sub in these values in the equation. The ones will cancel each other out. So we get y equals 0. So the second vector that's perpendicular to vectors r and s can be 1, 0, 1. So out of the infinite vectors that can be perpendicular to vectors r and s, these are 2 vectors. So this should be the final answer for this problem. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.